Hello everybody, welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to the Marshall's Steam Museum Train Day. And I was invited out here today as the official videographer. There you go. So glad to be here today and we're going to check them out. For those who are not familiar with Marshall's Steam Museum, so this is the actual Steam Museum right here. We'll take a look inside there. The Aikenback live steamers are here on train day. There is the carriage house, they call it. That's where the Stanley steam vehicles are maintained. From what I understand, they all run. They actually run them on different days. They won't be running them today, but they do run the Stanley steamers. And up there is the mansion. So at Marshall Steam Museum, they have 7.5-inch gauge ride-on trains. This is very cool. So as you will see, they have two steam locomotives and a diesel train as well. Very nice. So, hoping to get a ride on one of these today. Very cool. So as you can see, the name of the 7.5-foot gauge ride-on railroad is the Auburn Valley Railroad.
Got a little dark spot right in the front. Got a little dark spot.
Dark spot in front. Can you try and reach them up there?
Yeah.
What kind of coal you guys using?
Today we're using anthracite.
Oh, regular anthracite. Okay, just regular anthracite pea coal.
Yep, pea coal.
Okay. Well, I actually got a fireplace at a stove at home,
Okay.
and I burn coal too. So so I'm a little bit familiar with burning coal.
Okay.
The rest of it, though, making steam and all that stuff, that's a whole different story.
Harry?
So what's the boiler pressure on this one?
120.
120?
Huh?
That good?
Sounds a little worrying to me, but we had it really down.
Wow.
When you're so used to it roaring, you really get it quieted down because it doesn't heat a lot.
So how much water does she hold?
Ooh. That's a great question.
I have no idea.
We had it written down. Somewhere. I forget off the top of my head. I think the tender holds about 10 gallons. 10 gallons on the tender, and the water sits about.
Boiler probably about half
here.
that.
Oh, okay.
Boiler probably be about half that then, about 5.
Yeah. 5 gallons.
5 gallons?
Yeah.
And how much run time to get out before you need to refill?
Oh, 15, 20 minutes.
15, 20 minutes before you need it? Wow.
If you make it, to load up and make a round is about 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
If we're working efficiently. And every 2 rounds,
You're filling it up.
it goes down enough that you have to start refilling it.
Okay.
Front here.
That's probably where we won't have the most issues for that.
I mean, this has got to be a lot of work, even in miniature.
Oh yeah. It's fun though.
Yeah.
Get a little bit up front here.
Yeah,
Cover
a
these.
little bit right here in front here, right inside the firebox.
Cover all these warm spots we got. Look at the sides. Nice even. There you go. And then the right. Yeah, we should be good.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, not a lot. Right there. Perfect. Let that catch. Let her cook.
And what's the general fire up time on this?
An hour.
An
hour, 15 minutes.
That's pretty good, actually, for the size of this
We
thing.
started at 10, it's quarter of 11 now, so in another 15, we're up to about 90 pounds. We want to get it up, ideally closer to 120. I'd like to pop off the safeties
To make
before
sure.
we start to operate, just
Yep.
to make sure everything's working.
Okay. So how many locomotives do you have altogether?
3, 2 steam engines and 1 diesel.
Okay. Very nice.
One of the steam engines right now is down for maintenance.
Down for maintenance. Okay. And what year was this one built?
This one was 1961.
Okay.
The builder's tag's up there, 61. The other one was
Other
built
one,
1960.
other one's 1960.
Oh wow.
The diesel was acquired sometime around 2005, 2010, I think.
All right, so we got a conductor behind us. What's your name?
David.
David. David's riding with us on the steam locomotive train
The Auburn Valley Railroad.
at the Marshall Steam Railroad Museum, Steam Museum,
Yep.
and enjoying the day out. And so here we go, all aboard, right?
All aboard.
太重了，抬不动。
Working up the incline here.
Wait till the train has come to a complete stop. Then exit towards your left end of breaking the fence. Left end, breaking your fence.
Flat spots and benches. Yeah, I can do that.
So this is the carriage house, they call it. This is where they fix and maintain the automobiles, the Stanley steamers. They also have a machine shop. So we're going to go inside and check that out as well. While I'm right here.
Sure.
While it's not busy. So this is the machine shop that keeps everything running at the museum. Very nice. I see everything's all labeled out and stuff. Wow.
Personal touring car. And I just asked Susan, I thought it was across country once, 4 times. That thing's been across country 4 times. It's amazing. Disc brakes, you can see the disc brakes.
So this thing runs on 700 pounds of steam pressure. That is insane. 500. Okay. Wow. And then we got the Stanley steamer over here.
This is the 607, 10 horsepower. I'll count the seats. It's probably the only 5-seater in existence.
Wow.
There's 4 and 3 and 2, but not any 5 that we know.
All these ran on kerosene as far as steam?
So all these use kerosene, and we have a few old ones that use gasoline at 120 psi. So you figure that one out.
Oh my God.
And the guy that tried to run it on propane, well, let's just say he had a very loud bang. Didn't work out too well for him.
So this is inside the carriage house where they do all the maintenance on the Stanley steamers.
This was a lot of fun to drive.
So it's a 1915 Stanley mountain wagon model, and originally owned by the Litchfield Stage Company of Southbridge, Massachusetts. This vehicle had been used to haul logs out of New Hampshire woods. What? Are you serious?
Now I want you to think about, the guy took good care to preserve the seats and the structure for the canopy, and Mr. Marshall was able to get all that and then put it all back as a true mountain wagon.
Wow.
If you go online and look up the Stanley Hotel out in Colorado, you'll start to see the relationship between the mountain wagon and the hotel. Because they would take people from the train up the hill to the hotel.
We're upstairs. That stairway goes up to the machine shop.
Okay.
And then this is where the steam engines are maintained and stored, and the diesel engines.
Oh, wow.
So they're working on the other one. Clarence Marshall machined both of these, the 401 and the 402, back in the 60s. That was the father of Tom Marshall. And they're both coal-fired.
Very nice. What gauge is this, or scale?
7.5 inch.
7.5 inch gauge.
Wheel gauge.
Okay.
1/8 scale.
A 1/8 scale.
So 1/8 the size of the real one. You can see the builder's plate right up there.
Yeah. 1960. And then you just line everything up to go out this door, it looks like. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, you flip that, you flip this over,
Okay.
and then you just, line it up, and go right through and have right out to the turntable.
Never mind. It's gonna fill up.
Okay. I
Come
see.
out here, and then, put it on the turntable, and fire it up, and then they spin it around, and then head on down. And eventually the track will continue off the turntable to go into the building. And there'll be multiple tracks in there. I think there are going to be 3 tracks inside the
Oh, inside the new building? Okay.
car barn.
So even the popcorn machine runs on steam.
The one underneath is less wrinkly. I try to stretch it out in the sun.
Very cool. Sorry for the glare.
The other one's less wrinkly. I tried to put it in the sun, I thought it might help it.
And actually, my buddy was, they were at Carlisle or somewhere, and he told his buddy, you know, you gotta, because he just kind of scanned them quick and didn't go through them. He said, you gotta look in there and see if there's an auto in there. What are you talking about? And he told us, he went through them and damn sure wasn't one in that bunch.
We can spin it now. I think one of the lights would be well. We had that on price cards. It might be in the attic that I can get. It's a little vanilla envelope that says $5 price cards. Okay.
All right.
At Marshall Steam Museum, they're working on building a garden railroad. They're going to call it the Yorklyn Valley Railroad. So as you can see here, we are building the Yorklyn Valley Railroad for gauge 1 and G-scale trains. Basically a garden layout. 400-foot double track main line, outdoor layout, live steam, battery, and 2-rail electric. They'll have steaming bays, train staging yards, and you can even bring your own trains. I think this will be a great addition to Marshall Steam Museum once they get up and running. And we'll take a look at that groundbreaking here in a minute. So let's take a look at the proposed site to the Yorklyn Valley Railroad, which is going to be the gauge 1 G-scale garden layout, 400-foot double main line. And it looks like they already broke ground, but eventually there's going to be, you know, a pathway or sidewalk to get to it. And so they're going to put it right here. As you can see, they already started preparing the site to get this up and going. They're having fundraisers to build this. So the people who love G-scale and garden railroads in the area will have a place to run, and I think that's absolutely a great thing. And you can bring your own G-scale trains. They're talking about, if you don't own one, they're going to have a club one where you join a club and you can actually run the club G-scale trains in here. And I'll definitely be back once they have that up and built. So Marshall Steam Museum on train day today, they're having a silent auction so they could build their Yorklyn Valley Railroad gauge 1 or garden scale layout. As you can see, the auction ends today. So let's see what kind of goodies that they are auctioning off. Now with the silent auction, you just simply fill out the paperwork of your bid. Minimum bid on this is $50, so if you want it, you just fill in your name. If you're the highest bidder, you get it. Just as simple as that. So here we have a couple Aristocrat locomotives they're auctioning off. That looks to be a USA Trainz depressed center flat car. Caboose. Some really neat stuff. Over here we have a building. Ooh, what do we got over here? So we have Williams O scale. They look very, very nice. And then I'm probably going to butcher the name, but Lagus Creek has donated some G-scale turnouts, brand new. For those who are not familiar, they're a G-scale company. They specialize in making switches. And they're very top quality. So very cool. And then lastly, this cool toy chest. And what kid wouldn't want a toy chest like this? This is so neat. Whoever built this did some really nice work. And so minimum bid on that is $125. All you gotta do is put your name next to it, and if somebody else wants it worse than you, then they'll have to put the next higher bid, whatever that is. I'm not sure what the bid increments are, but there you go. So we're going to check out Marshall's Steam Museum, and I think you guys are going to like this. So on a side note, even though today is train day at Marshall's Steam Museum, I'm a truck mechanic by trade, and I love cars, I love trucks, I love anything mechanical, airplanes. So I found out there's also steam powered cars inside the museum. So we're going to check that out as well and include the some information on the cars in this video as well. So we're inside of Marshall's Steam Museum, and look at this. This is a Lionel standard gauge pre-war Trainz. Amazing. So before we get into too much of looking at this, let's read what it says on the wall. Lionel Trainz, Santa's gift to Tommy Marshall. Santa Claus delivered some of what you see here to young Tommy Marshall at Auburn Heights between 1926 and 1936. This display is of standard gauge Lionel Trainz, reflects the imagination of a young boy enthralled with travel and transportation. And this must be Tommy Marshall as a young kid getting his standard gauge Lionel Trainz set. It's very cool. So let's take a look and see what's here.
Yeah, that's why everything was electric.
So Lionel was kind of like the electric.
They thought that was the future. Yeah, it's funny.
Round and round we go. In 1931, Clarence Marshall saw a double circular O-gauge layout at Wanamaker's department store in Philadelphia. He came home with the intent to build a similar display for his young son Tom at Christmas time. As Tom recalled years later, the department store layout was made of metal from an erector set or something similar, and featured two spirals, one up, one down, with 6 rounds each. This display had 8 rounds in a spiral and is made from wood, but unlike the Wanamaker version, it turns around top and bottom with 2 switches, requiring only 1 spiral for the complete trip. So the train makes a loop, goes down this spiral, or as many would call it today, a helix, comes down, goes through another loop, comes around, and then just simply comes back up again. Standard gauge or wide gauge. Lionel pretty much captured the term standard gauge, so when other manufacturers made the same gauge, they called it wide gauge. So we're going to take a look at the Stanley steam cars that are on display. Most of them run on kerosene. I was told there was a couple that ran on gasoline. As far as powering up steam, running very high boiler pressures. (1908) Stanley Model EX. Now this is not steam, this is a regular gasoline powered car. 1914 Ford Model T. To get it started, you had to wind up the crank on the front of it. There's no electric start. Up here you have throttle and timing to make the car go. So you actually had to change the timing on the car through the handle on the steering wheel to get it to crank off. So here we have a 1909 model 74 Stanhope. This is actually a battery powered car, believe it or not. So yeah, they were playing around with battery power back then, way back in the day. Okay, here we have a Cagney locomotive. This Class D locomotive was produced in 1905 by the New York-based Cagney Brothers Locomotive Works, building steam locomotives in 1894 for steam parks, zoos, city parks, and fairs. The four Cagney brothers, Timothy G., David H., Charles L., and Thomas G., manufactured nearly 1,300 locomotives in a variety of sizes over the company's 55-year history. Now, if Cagney sounds familiar to you, it should, because the Strasburg Railroad also has a Cagney steam locomotive as well. So here's a 1901 Mobile 4.5 horsepower car. We'll keep going here. 1905 Stanley Model CX. 1910 Stanley Touring Model 71, steam power. 1907 Stanley Model K, semi-racer, steam powered. So this interesting information here. In 1906, the Stanleys developed their strongest power plant ever, using a 4.5 inch by 6.5 inch engine and a 30-inch boiler. That same year, this power plant drove their streamlined racer to a world land speed record of 127 miles an hour. Now remember, this is in 1906. By 1907, that same power plant with somewhat smaller boiler was installed in a very light 2-passenger vehicle, creating one of the first muscle cars, steam powered no less. The catalog termed it as a semi-racing car intended primarily for track and hill racing. Only 26 were ever built. 1918 Stanley Touring Model 735. Here we have a Packard. I recognize this kind of car without even reading it. But, okay, here we go. 1932 Packard Phaeton Model 905. This is a high-end luxury car for that time period. Here you can see the steam boiler exposed, and as I mentioned, most of them ran on kerosene, a couple of them gasoline. So this is a 1913 Stanley Touring Model 76. '16 Stanley Touring Model 725. Check out this TV. Oh man. So here we have a Stanley Roadster Model 78. Another steam powered vehicle. Very cool.
Good for you. That was really good. Did you count all those cars? That was really good. That was really good. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. Don't touch. Don't touch. Right out the top. This one. Yep, look at that little house. Oh, here comes the train. It's pink. That's the signal. And there are two trains going in opposite directions. Yeah, two trains. Yeah. Yeah. Two cars and a truck. See the truck?
That wood.
Yeah. Watch out, the train's coming. The train is coming. Right on time. Oh, yeah. That's the train. It's a train.
Oh, here comes the train.
Here it comes.
We got a bell.
See it? It's coming.
It feels heavy, so I think maybe.
Something that was given to us?
Yeah.
Where's your train?
gentlemen. We got some really great Carolina pulled pork and brisket, oyster and shrimp po' boys up here today. Hot dogs. Good. All kinds of good stuff, man. Are you put up right now? Almost. You look that up.
We can make a video after each coach show.
Yes.
Yeah, the line is good. We waited forever.
Oh, this one too? Okay, we are at Auburn Heights with Allie. Hello.
Hello, welcome.
And thank you. And so what can you tell us about this place? Because I had no idea this was even here. And I'm sure there has to be more people than me that don't even realize this is here.
We had a nickel for any time anyone said that. We would be rich here. But this little hidden gem here in northern Delaware, just right outside of Hockessin, has something for everyone from ages 2 to 92, is what we like to say. Now behind us, this is the Marshall Mansion. This was built in 1897.
Wow.
So when you come for a visit here, you can tour this mansion and see 3 generations of families, materials, and personal belongings, which is really incredible. If you go further around the mansion, you're going to hit the Marshall Steam Museum. This is our collection of operating steam cars. We also have some other gems in there, such as a working Model T, so you can experience steam-powered cars, a gasoline-powered car, and when our electric car is back from the shop, you can also ride in an early electric car. Circling around the property, we also have our small-scale, 1/8 scale diesel and steam locomotives, which you can get a ride on. Kids and adults.
Right, and that was a bunch of fun because I got to ride on both myself.
Yes, exactly.
And then you guys have events here as well, right? So why don't you tell people about the certain events you have?
We do not rest here, that's for sure. So the event that we are at today is, of course, Train Day. After that, first Sundays, June through November, we have our Steamin' Days. So in addition to our trains, our cars also come out. So we have a couple operational steam cars that we bring out for rides, as well as our Model T. Then on third Thursdays, May through September, we have our Auburn Heights After Hours. This is where you can come enjoy a casual evening event here on our grounds, get to experience the site. We have some other fun activities going on, food trucks, local beer and wine. It's a really great time as well.
All right. And so if you are in the Wilmington, Delaware area, okay, this place is not far from there. So make sure you pay this place a visit. I had a great time. It's family, fun, friendly. I mean, there was a lot of things going on here today.
Yes.
And I encourage you to visit here. I'm going to put a link in the description of this video of their website. And I hope that you guys experienced what I did today. It was great talking to you. And
Did you say you had a blast?
Oh, I definitely had a blast, especially with the ride-on trains, with the steam-powered car museum, the Lionel train display, There was an HO club here on display as well. The Aikenback live steamers were here, running their Gauge 1 live steam light. It was so much going on here. I had fun.
For train lovers of all ages.
Yes.
And even train lover converts like myself. So.
And I thank you for this interview, and we'll catch you trackside.
Great.
Okay, thank you. The kids have things that they can play on here. Very cool. It looks like there's a whistle there. Well, Dakman can't resist. There's a kid in all of us, right? So let's see what happens here. That's cool. So I'm at the Marshall Steam Museum here. Wilmington and Western Railroad's also here representing. We have Ed
Lipka.
Okay, and
Drew.
Okay, and
Seth.
And
Cameron.
Okay, guys, thank you for coming out today. I have actually rode the Wilmington Western. It's been quite some time during the Puffer Belly Day, where they double-headed the steam locomotive. Had a lot of fun during that day. I actually took video of that day, and so it was a pretty cool ride. My first question is going to be: will you guys be doing that soon again? Okay. This year.
Doing some double-headed steam runs this year.
This year, okay.
I don't want to make any promises, but that's what the plan is.
That's
98 should be coming out early summer. That's what the prediction is if everything keeps going the way it's going.
All right, because I know it's been down for its routine inspection.
It took a little longer because we had to do some emergency work late last year on number 58.
Okay.
Dry pipe. So they're back focusing 100% on number 98 now.
Okay, that was the first question I had because I had an awesome time that day, and I'm definitely going to be back for when you guys do the double heading of the steam locomotives once again.
Keep an eye on the website and also our social media pages. It'll hit there first.
Okay, for those who don't know anything about the Wilmington and Western, what can you tell me about it?
Well, Wilmington Western used to haul freight back and forth through the Red Clay Valley as well as passengers starting in 1872. The charter was commissioned in 1867. In 1966, Memorial Day weekend to be exact, Tom Marshall, who resided here for many, many years, actually was instrumental in bringing the steam engines that we used at that time. 92 was one of our first steam engines. Tom Marshall found number 98 down in Mississippi and brought that back up here to be worked on and put into service. And when 98 went down for one of its routine maintenance calls, probably back about 20 years ago, Brian Woodcock and his wife Linda donated number 58, which is an 060 switcher that sat up in Avondale on the siding probably for about 25 years. He saved it from scrap. So
oh, wow.
we have 2 steam engines that will be running. We have 2 diesel engines, and as you know, as of today, our Doodlebug. So we have a full fleet. We have a great group of volunteers. We could always use more. We have a bunch of different excursions that are happening. You have to check out our website, ranging from all of our kids' trains, from princess trains, superhero trains. We have brews on board. We have a tour going to Brandywine Springs on the 20th of this month, which the train will stop and we'll give people a tour of the park, and a lot of other historical events happening. So you can check out our website, check out our social media pages, and be up to date with everything.
And what town and city is the Wilmington and Western located in?
Well, it's actually, it makes its start at Greenbank Station, which is still considered to be in Wilmington, Delaware, and it ends up in Hockessin. But our line goes up a little further and ends on Valley Road.
Okay. And I'll put a link into this video for those who are watching to the Wilmington and Western, for those who are interested in excursion. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for stopping by and visiting us today.
Okay, so we're with the Wilmington and Western crew again. And so what are we doing?
All right, so when you ride the Wilmington Western Railroad, you'll see that we have multiple different coaches connected to each other, and you've probably heard of couplers before. They're what hold the train together physically, but we also need everything on the train to be able to stop. And we do that with brakes, and brakes on trains are powered by air. To get that air between cars, we have air hoses. So when the brakeman couples the train together with the couplers, after he gets everything stopped, he couples the brake hoses together. All right, and since this is the side of the engine and that's the side of the coaches that have not been coupled to yet, we have the air over here. The brakeman is going to open the angle cock and release air to the back of the train very slowly so that he doesn't dump the train. All right, and at that point we have brakes, and then we go out and use the brakes, and then when we're done using the brakes, what we'll do is we'll uncouple the train because it's the end of the day, and at that point our brakeman will close the angle cock again. We won't have any more air that we're sending out to the back, and then when the train uncouples, these hoses just pop apart. They should. Like there we go.
Okay.
And there you have it.